Well, good morning. How's your day starting off? If it's not good and you've been up for a couple of hours, do me a favor. Walk over to the window and look outside to the east. I hope you can see the most beautiful sunrise. That's how we can bring a smile to your face and start your morning off maybe a little bit better if it hasn't gone well. And if you've just gotten up, then that's the first thing I want you to do. Stretch a little bit, get some water, walk over to the window, and I hope you can see that gorgeous sunrise. Good morning to you. I'm Monica Adams, and you're taking a look for you right now at the Real Monica Adams studio from Invita Health and Wellness, brought to you by our incredible friends that we joined forces with back in May. And she, Dr. Sarah Franco, has been changing lives mentally, physically, spiritually, that whole balance and triangle that we've always been talking about. That's what she aligns with us. And that's why she became the title sponsor. And I appreciate not only Sarah, but Jamie and the entire staff and the incredible work that they do. You'll hear about them in just a second. I hope you're having a great start to your day. If you're not, I think the woman that's going to join me today will definitely switch that around a little bit. Her name is Theresa Carrington, and she had a vision back in 2002 in her own personal life as she did, wanted to empower women, going to speaking in organizations, and then she would have these baskets that we're going to be showing you a little bit later on this morning. And then that kind of prompted, she used those as props, and that prompted people saying, well, I want a basket. And then what she did and the connections that she's made around the world has just truly gained notoriety, changing lives. We're going to talk about an event they have coming up in October. All of that with Theresa Carrington coming up for you in just a little bit. Before we do that, though, let's just see how your day's starting off. Let me tell you, there wasn't a lot of traffic going in this morning, which is great. If you're driving eastbound, I think the people might tap the brakes just to see how beautiful the sunrise is. I can't say it enough. It is absolutely gorgeous. And that's one way to fill your spirit. Remember, you want to pick the intentional word of the day. Today, mine was discipline, right? Driving discipline. And you can use that one if you want to. If not, pick your own. And then tonight, be sure to find that gratitude word. And then we kind of bookend those days, right? I wanted to tell you a little bit about growing up. Or maybe you didn't grow up in North County, but maybe you visited. I was listening this morning to KMOX as I was driving in, and they were talking about 50 years ago, 1973, Jamestown Mall. Do you remember Jamestown Mall was erected? A 1.2 million square foot wonderful mall complex. And I have the fondest memories of growing up in Florissant and going up to Jamestown Mall. And I'm just trying to figure out from all of you parents and grandparents, what are your kids like that are in 7th, 8th grade and the high schoolers? Where do they go to just hang now? Because, malls kind of became like dinosaurs. I did walk into West County Mall within the last several months and thought I saw maybe a resurgence of people hanging at the mall again, which would be good. I love supporting local, so I like to go to more of the standalones, the brick and mortars, and support local business. But if you have to run to the mall, here and there, you got to support them as well. We don't want to see anybody go out of business. But do the kids hang up there anymore? Tell me. I'm going to have you weigh in. Parents, let me know if your kids still run up to the mall and if that's like a date night for them. I have fond memories of just, you're in high school and your boyfriend or girlfriend are saying, oh, what do you want to do? Well, let's just go to the mall. We just walk the mall. Oh, we're holding hands. Oh, he touched my hand. It's all those fun memories of just walking through Jamestown Mall. I remember Sticks, Bear, and Fuller. A lot of the younger kids won't know what I'm talking about. That became Dillard's. And then we think of Famous Bar. That became Macy's. But it was funny because people used to call it Famous and Bar. And everyone always believed that was because of Sticks, Bear, and Fuller, even though Sticks, Bear, and Fuller became Dillard's. But Famous Bar was Macy's. They had JCPenney up there and then all the small stores. I'm going to give you my fondest memory of Jamestown Mall. I remember saving so much money and just falling in love with wanting to dress my father. And so I went into Back Rack. Back Rack, do you remember the old 2-level Back Rack at Jamestown Mall? I remember walking in there and buying my dad these double pleated pants with cuffs, this gorgeous button-down shirt, and then I went over to Dillard's and bought my very first pair for a guy, double monk strap shoes. They were like a camel color. I was so proud of being able to put all that together, and that was not cheap. You remember, Back Rack was not a cheap store. In fact, back then it was one of the most sought-after stores. Beautiful work. And we're going to be talking about the artisan, the craftsmanship that goes into these baskets, but the craftsmanship that went into the clothes back then, the details, and that's when Back Rack was so sought after. And yeah, that was one of the first things I did. I remember going to Back Rack. Well, now, 50 years after that mall was erected, they're tearing it down. 50 years later. So just let's share some memories, if you want to, of the maybe times you went up there. I remember going to Jamestown and Northwest Plaza, and such a shame to see both of those go down. So again, malls in general, I know it was a dying breed. I remember doing tons of stories on how people just don't go to malls anymore, but I thought that maybe was changing in the last year or so. So let me know that. Speaking of brick and mortars, as I drive in here to Brentwood, where our studios are, I see Soft Surroundings right there at the boulevard, where there's a lot of employees at the Creve Coeur Soft Surroundings headquarters going to find out if they are losing their jobs, because a lot of the Soft Surroundings brick and mortars are changing over to Coldwater Creek. So every time I drive in, I wait to see if that's going to flip. But yeah, it's just yesterday we were talking about pink slips going out, as well as the possibility of jobs being lost and strikes. In fact, right now they're wrapping up that 24-hour strike that the SLU SSM nurses did. They wrapped that up at 7 a.m. and we'll see what happens with that. I'll be following it for you. But shout out to nurses. I know one of the reasons they did that is because of a nurse shortage, as well as nurse retention and higher pay to traveling nurses. So, they're fighting for their rights, and you've got to do just that. So a few things I just wanted to pass along to you today. Once again, as I mentioned, Theresa Carrington, we're going to be talking with her this entire hour, and wait till you hear the wonderful things that she has done, as well as how you can pay it forward. And you can't see them yet, but you're going to see these gorgeous blessing baskets. Theresa Carrington in the blue chair when we return. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. It is 7:07, and if you're just tuning in, welcome aboard. A lot of you have been watching since the vision and the dream started on March 1st. So I could go probably back when I was 19, because that's really where it started. We always think, where did that aha moment come from? But at least from starting, it was, for me, back at 19. But this in the studios was actually June 12th. So if you've been watching since then, thank you so very much. If you're brand new to the show, and I love when I see the comments of so many people that have said, oh my gosh, I just found your show in the last week, and thank you so much. I love the stories, I love the inspiration, I love the motivation, and I love the guests you have. Before I show you my guests and show you the beautiful baskets that she's brought in and the story behind the baskets, let's actually see the story.
10/3 কে জানাবো যে আমি যে কাজ করে আগে উন্নতি করেছি, ভ্যান কিনেছি, সাইকেল কিনেছি, ছেলেপেলের পড়াশোনার জন্য কটা কবুতর কিনেছি, মাঠে একটু ধান করেছি, আবার আগেতে অনেক স্বাবলম্বন হয়েছি আমি। তাই 10/3 কে অনেক ধন্যবাদ।
10/3 me va mia be anyi lugo demoa alo voiture moa mia dan ko gbere mi a tsovea ko be mluide ko be nko dedele me nami mgbogbodo wa 10/3 toji nami bo le won cha nami wa akpoto egbale ogbeke woni ya ma dan me ya ne me ba je wa ma mia pon ko gbededo ko ma ta
10/3 কে আমি এইটুকুই বলবো ম্যাডামকে, যে ম্যাডাম যদি আমার এই কাজটা না দিত, তাহলে আমি জীবনে মনে হয় বাঁচতেই পারতাম না। আমি অনেক কিছু করতে পারছি, যেমন ধরো ছাগল করেছি, যেমন কবুতর করতে পারছি, যেমন খরগোশ করেছি, যেমন গরু করেছি। 10/3 কে যারা সাহায্য করেছে, আমি তাদের সহ সবাই ধন্যবাদ দিই।
bannange nebaza nnyo bakama baffe abatuwa emirimu, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala okutubeezaawo, mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala okutuwonya ennaku, mwatuwonya okukaaba, mwatuwonya okwegayirira abasajja, twabeegayiriranga n'ologoye naye nga tebalutuwa, naye okuva 10/3 lwe yajja. Bannange mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala, Mukama abawe omukisa.
Pretty powerful, right? Let's talk to the woman behind it all. Theresa Carrington, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored to be here.
And I have to thank a mutual friend of ours, Diane Isbell, who's already been writing this morning. She got up early and said she couldn't wait to see the two of us together.
She's a force.
Isn't she?
She's amazing.
Yes, and we've got to bring her back on the show. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen her show, you'll have to go back. We talked about etiquette many, many months ago. So, Diane, thank you so much for introducing me to this beautiful soul. Well, let's go back. So, 2002, I remember you were talking to a lot of women, empowering women, and you would use baskets as a prop.
That's right. So I had gone through a really big crisis in my life. My husband of 13 years had just walked out on me and my 2 children. I didn't see it coming. This was the early days of the internet, and he was probably one of the first internet affairs, honestly. So he just left, and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. And so person by person, card by card, letter by letter, people just started showering me with love because they were wanting to help me get put back together again. And on the really dark days, when I did not think I could take another step, when I thought, maybe my mom can raise my kids, I would go back to those cards and letters, which were all surrounding me in a room, and start rereading them. And as I reread them, I would get restored and restored. And these are people who probably don't even remember writing the card. How many cards have you written that it was just what you did and then you moved on to the next thing?
Sure.
But for me, it was everything. And as the cards began piling up, I started putting them in a basket and started calling it my blessing basket. And that's what many people in St. Louis know us as, is the Blessing Basket Project. And that's how it all began. I knew by 2003 or so, when I started to get put back together, that I could never repay all of those people for their random acts of kindness and care and love, but I could pay it forward. And so the organization that you know today is 10 by 3 is just my attempt to pay forward the love and care that people gave me when I really, really needed it most.
And Theresa, we talk a lot about that on this show, that we need to surround ourselves with people who will lift us up, and we in turn, when it's our turn to pay it forward, that we lift them up. And you're going to have the crashing down and you'll have the highs of highs. You would have never expected that to happen for your husband to do this internet thing, and then your life completely changes. People go along, and that's the other thing, is you never know what someone's going through. We never know the struggle someone's going through. And we always want to say, well, what is their story? Well, go out of your own way and find out what the story is,
That's right?
So you are talking to women and you bring the basket and you tell the story about your own blessings. And then it transfers into 2003. And then you want to take the vision higher.
That's right. So by 2003, I decided, listen, I can't pay all of these people back for what they did, but I can pay it forward, and I'm going to do it with baskets. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to have people who are living in poverty. I grew up below the poverty line in this country. I know what government cheese tastes like. I know what it's like to be the kid with the specially colored lunch card and feel different than all the other kids. Never owned a new piece of clothing until I was 14 years old. Everything was a secondhand. So it's just how we grew up in South Central Kansas. And I said, well, poverty is going to be what we're going to do. Baskets is how we're going to do it. And so I called a professor who I had found had done a study on the Appalachians. And I said, this is where we're going to start. It's going to be the Appalachian Mountains. And his first words are, this isn't going to work. And I was like, no, you don't understand who you're talking to. I am very determined. No, it's not going to work. Yes, it is. No. And finally I said, why? Why isn't it going to work?
Right.
And he said, well, the people of the Appalachians can't weave. And I was like, oh, you have my attention. So I said, well, what do I do? And he said, well, you need to go where poverty is at its greatest and weaving is indigenous. You need to take this to the African continent. And I said, well, how do I do that? I didn't even own a passport.
Right.
I was like, how do I do that? And he said, well, there's a place online called the Mountain Forum, and it is no longer around. It was until a few years ago. And he said, you have to be sponsored in, but it's where the world is gathering to talk about important issues like poverty and, saving animals. He said, I'll sponsor you in, but after that, you're on your own. And so I went in and I put a message. They had a room, a little chat room for every continent in the world. And I said, here's who I am. Here's what I want to do. And if you can weave, then contact me. And overnight, 12 countries responded.
Oh, wow.
And within 2 weeks, we had more than 25 countries and 80 inquiries. Yeah.
And so, you know what? I love the part of the story of someone wanting to help and assist you, because if he hadn't stepped in,
That's
you,
right.
right? You wouldn't have known. It's all the beautiful people that are blessings that come into our lives.
I
Because
agree.
that would have never been able to launch. You wouldn't have known about
I would
that.
never have known. I would have never have thought about the African continent or anywhere else outside the United States.
Fascinating. And we're looking, by the way, so we're looking here on the table, but also in a lot of the pictures that you'll see that we are going to share throughout the hour of these incredible baskets. You brought these in this morning, Theresa, and both Michelle, my assistant moderator, a lot of you see her in the comments, and we all said, holy cow, you want to talk about, I was mentioning in the beginning, right, the loss of true craftsmanship and artisan. That's not lost here. These
Not
are
at
so
all.
well made, and one of the things that stood out to me was the pictures. So tell us about the pictures.
The pictures on our baskets are very special.
Yes.
You've probably seen these baskets at your local Whole Foods market. You've seen them at boutique stores. We are this year going to sell over 100,000 of these on behalf of our
you just gave me
artisans
chills. Wow.
around the world. And so with every one of them that you buy, you are literally changing a life. So when you see this picture, this is not just anybody. This literally is the woman who made this basket. 10 by 3 has developed a United Nations recognized platform, and what it does, it's the world's largest artisan engagement platform. We are able to track the very person who made this very basket. This is her signature, and you can really tell this is not someone who knew how to write her name. And in all of our cases, we have taught our artisans literally how to write their name, because they were not considered basically among the human race by their countries. They were lacking in education. And so for many of our women, it is a very powerful and empowering moment when we ask for their signature, and then not only just ask, but help guide the hand in order to help them write their name for the first time. So when you look at that signature, it is extremely, extremely powerful.
And there you go, what you're saying. Before joining 10 by 3, I had no identity. I'm getting chills left and right, Theresa. To imagine a life where no one sees you, you are treated as worthless.
That's right.
And the education aspect of life is so powerful. So here they are going along, and you're teaching what many of us take for granted, which is simply signing your name.
Right. I'm looking around your studio, and you have your beautiful, script signature. And when you think about your everyday, every important thing in your life has started with your signature, your graduation, your license, your business contracts, whatever it may be. And here, the artisans that we serve, many of them have never written their name, and it was so empowering. And once you empower someone with vision and the ability to see themselves larger than the immediate space around them, they'll never go back.
I want to reintroduce my guest because she's a powerful woman, powerful in spirit, Theresa Carrington, and we're talking about 10 by 3. So it was originally the Blessing Baskets. Mm-hmm. So why the switch of the name, which I think was 2018?
Yep, in 2018 we changed from the Blessing Basket Project to 10 by 3. And I was blessed enough to be asked by the United Nations to speak globally, and I still do that for them today. So I'm a United States Department of State speaker. And as I would travel around the world and people would say, well, who are you? What do you do? I would say, I'm Theresa Carrington, founder of the Blessing Basket Project. And this look would come over their face. And they, oh, you're so cute. You're just a little missionary. Now, no slight to missionaries. Their work is vital. However, we are like a lean, mean, poverty-fighting machine. What are you talking about? And you could just see the disrespect and the dismissal come into their eyes. And I realized our name is not containing all that we have become and all that we have pioneered. Mm-hmm. 10 by 3 is a formula that ends extreme poverty. And we pioneered it right here in St. Louis with the help of the entire metro area. It's taken us 20 years, but we now know that when we purchase 10 of these products a month from an artisan at prosperity wages, not fair trade, we are 2.5 times fair trade. It's a model we invented. Remember, I grew up poor, and the government assistance was not enough. And taking that thinking, I applied it to this work, knowing that fair trade was not enough. So I said, it's got to be more. 2.5 times. enables our artisans, when we purchase 10 baskets a month at Prosperity Wages, they are then required. It's not an option. It used to be an option. It's not an option anymore. They are now required to start 3 small businesses. And we know that when they start those small businesses, each of those businesses will produce an average of 4 streams of income for them. So the average woman will go from having no opportunity for income to 3 small businesses, which are generating a minimum of 12 streams of income. And that is setting her on a path to sustainable prosperity. She graduates and the next person enters, come on down. And we've done that, and over 8,000 people have graduated from our program, and thousands more are on the way.
We're talking about thousands now. I love what Theresa said when she came in, and she was, I mean, the very first thing, it's hard not to, because you look at the craftsmanship of the baskets and how beautiful they are, and then you go, oh, this picture. And immediately she was saying, I knew every face and every name because it used to be 10, 20, 100, hundreds. Yep. Now you're talking thousands, Theresa.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? I mean, I'm getting chills just because of what you do, which, by the way, Diane told me I would. I mean, look at that. Doesn't that tell it all?
That's Majida. She's an amazing woman. She is standing on what's called a biga of land. That is her rice paddy field, only where you see the border. You can kind of make out a border there. And when I asked her, what does it feel like to know that you are never going to be hungry again, this is what she instinctively did. Oh. And I happened to capture it when she did it. Today, Majida is a graduate. She has built her own house. She has goats. She has everything that she needs. And as a matter of fact, we're interviewing her now in Bangladesh. I've got a team over there right now interviewing her to talk about, she graduated 10 years ago, and she's absolutely doing amazing, and she's ready to share her story, which we will be playing at our upcoming gala.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the gala. We're going to talk a lot of things. We've got about 40 minutes left
Yay!
here. If you have any comments or any aha moments, or you want to compliment this beautiful soul of her dream and her vision, you just write in here. I've got it up. A lot of people are saying what a blessing you are to these women. Exactly.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
read some of the comments. We're going to talk more about how you can help, how you can give back, where you can get these baskets. So much to talk about. We'll have more with Theresa when we return.
What is 10 by 3? 10 by 3 is the formula to end extreme poverty. We discovered the tipping point to prosperity happened when an artisan sold 10 handcrafted products each month at Prosperity Wages to fund 3 new businesses. Prosperity Wages guarantee that we will pay an artisan at least 2.5 times more than fair trade wages. To date, 10 by 3 has paid more than $4 million. The 10 by 3 formula has launched more than 32,000 local businesses, reignited more than 83 economies, helped more than 8,000 people, and 32,000 family members sustainably exit poverty. You can find us in 8 developing countries and on 3 continents. As you can see, 10 by 3 simply works to end poverty in the lives of those we serve. 10 by 3, the formula to end extreme poverty.
Hi, it's Monica Adams, and I just want to say thank you so much for following along since we launched The Real Monica Adams Show back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that our team can do for you. From styling to emceeing to life coaching to personal training, motivational speaking all around the world. If you have a company, a corporation, a business that would like to book us, email me, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Let's change lives together in person. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. And welcome back. It is 7:23, and that's Theresa Carrington that you're seeing. We're talking about 10 by 3. So any questions, any comments you have, let me see. I know Diane started it. Diane said, Theresa's an awesome lady who has devoted her life for over 20 years to helping change the lives of so many poverty-stricken African female artisans. And if you're just tuning in, that's what we're talking about. Somebody said, thank you so much for what you do. You're so awesome. Michelle was saying the quality of the bags, yes, are so incredibly amazing. I have a friend that does this with a group from Africa. She has taught them how to create this amazing jewelry. Jane Cook. Jane Cook Creates. Do you know
Okay,
who that is?
nope, I don't, but it takes all of us to raise the boat.
Right, absolutely. What a blessing you are to these women. Oh, somebody just said, I have a blessing basket and I love it.
Yay,
Yes,
thank you for that.
And thank you. It touches my heart to see the photos of these artisans and see the smiles on their faces when they sign their names. The baskets are beautiful and excellent workmanship. What a story each basket tells. What a blessing. I love this empowering message. What an inspiration. The ripple effect. This is awesome. I love Theresa Carrington's excitement and passion. Beautiful way to really do something for our world and humanity. Thank you. The picture's so powerful you can feel the emotion. I agree. That was the one that really just almost brought me to tears there. Theresa, thank you for what you do. And it's been over 16 years that we met your group at ESPW in St. Charles.
Yep, I
So
remember
amazing.
that
Thank you.
years
That's
ago.
what
Yeah.
Marilyn's saying. So all of you, if you have a question, you have a comment about the work that Theresa has been doing with 10 by 3, just let us know. I'll read those for you. So you have this vision. We talked about 2002, but you keep going back and talking about your upbringing and poverty. Go a little bit more into that.
Yeah, it was very much a part of how I was raised. I was raised on a farm in south central Kansas. And it's funny, when I go to the artisans, a lot of their businesses are agribusinesses, like cows and goats and chickens. And I would tell them, I would maybe issue some advice about goats or cows or whatever. Oh, you don't know anything about cows or goats. And I'm like, yeah, I can milk that goat. I can milk that cow. Bring it on over. And they're like, no, white people don't milk goats. And I'm like, bring me that goat. I'll milk your goat right now. So yeah, I grew up on a farm in south central Kansas, and I was an adopted kid. I was adopted at the age of 8. And so that meant that from 0 to 6, when I arrived at that farm, I was bouncing from foster home to foster home, and it was a very, very, very tumultuous life. And so by the time I was 6 years old and I landed on this farm with a woman that who I call my mother, her name is Beth, and she's still with us and still lives on that same farm in south central Kansas. She never let me feel that I was less. Even though we were poor, she was raising 5 adopted kids on a teacher's salary on that farm, and we never felt as though we were less. And she always showed the way by hard work, perseverance, she was a very proud woman. I know what it's like to be, pushed up into the dumpster to get our vegetables out of that dumpster. That was life. And she did it and always has and continues to with dignity. And being raised below the poverty line in this country, we had a lot of resources. We had a lot of help. There's a soup kitchen around every corner. There's government aid. There's subsidies for housing. Mom would never take any of those things. But I have as a young adult. And in the countries that 10 by 3 serves, there is nothing. Yeah. There is no safety net. The women will rise to die or rise to live based on the efforts of their own hands. And being raised in the way that I was, I didn't want anyone to see me in my weakness of poverty. Mm-hmm. If you Google Blessing Basket or 10 by 3, you will never see what I consider a disrespectful photo of fly-covered babies or, poverty bellies. We all can understand what, to some degree, poverty can look like, and that it is important that we end it. Let us make sure that the stories we share of those who live in extreme poverty are ones of their empowerment, their strength, their entrepreneurial spirit. Let's not focus on their weakness or let's not bring them our pity. Let's bring them our respect and our dignity.
Look at that picture. I'm so glad you said that, because it just made me sit there and think over the years. I mean, even when I was younger, and you would look at PSAs that would come on, you would look at all of these different videos that were put together, and absolutely, that's exactly what we always saw. The bellies, the flies everywhere, the fear, right? You could see the fear in the eye, the sadness in the eye. You feel that was more sensationalistic?
I do. It's real. I see those images when I travel and visit the countries and spend time with our artisans. Those are real images. Mm-hmm. But I believe that it's more important to talk about the human potential. It's more important to share their entrepreneurial stories. The entrepreneurship of the women and men, we also work with men, that we work with is staggering. They are incredible entrepreneurs. People who look like me have done the greatest disservice to those who are living in extreme poverty, who are in developing nations, who are typically black and brown. People who look like me have said to them, the more poor and pathetic that you present yourself, the more money we will give. And how disrespectful. And so 10 by 3 is out there rewriting the narrative of what development should look like, how we should enter with respect, how we should come to the table as a partner, not patronistic, if that's a word, but you understand what I'm trying to say, not patronize, but to come to the table as a partner, to greet people where they are and assume that they have every tool they need to change their station in life if they only had access to the global market. And that's what we provide.
Well, and I was going to say patronizing before when they were saying, oh, you're cute, aren't you cute, you little missionary, right?
Yeah.
It was the patronizing feeling from back then. And it's so true. And you were meant to be on this show because one of the reasons I walked away from television and radio after 30 years was we know these things are out there, but the whole if it bleeds, it leads was never something that ever connected with me and my soul. And it was, no, we know these things are going on in the world. What can we do about it? Don't just sit there and listen, oh, okay, and then turn the TV off and not be affected by it. All of you that are saying, you're incredible, this is a blessing, she is. And she's doing something about it because you know these are real world problems.
Yes, they are. And St. Louis and the greater metro area often gets into the mindset, well, we need to help St. Louis. And you bet we do need to help St. Louis. We have a lot of issues. But when you are helping the larger world, when we create prosperity in the communities that we serve, one of the number one things that will happen in that community is peace. Peace ripples out. When any part of our world is unstable due to war or any other kind of conflict, that ripples home.
Absolutely.
And so when you purchase one of these baskets, when you help us achieve our mission, you are also helping create a more stable and secure St. Louis, United States, and however far beyond those borders you want to see. We have to be global and local. We can't just be hyper-local. If we ignore the global piece, the local is going to be affected.
Well, I'm glad that you literally just took the words out of my mouth because the next part I wanted to go into was how many people say to you, well, why don't you help right here in our area or close our area, or why do we have to go out of the United States? I'm sure you've heard that a lot.
Oh, if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Why not at home? Well, we are helping at home. 10 by 3 has a staff of 10 people. These are 10 families that we are supporting through the sales of these products and our donations and the organization itself. So right there are 10 families who are spending money in this community and helping the economy here. We're located in the city of St. Louis. We pay city tax just like everybody else. So we're contributing there. 10 by 3 is located inside the Paraquad building, right next door to the St. Louis Science Center. When we write our $75,000 a year rent check, it goes to support another St. Louis nonprofit organization that is doing wonderful work for St. Louis. And then we also help St. Louis charities. Any of our baskets or products that we might not be able to sell, we turn around and donate to all kinds of organizations, Catholic Charities, Little Bid Foundation, homeless shelter organizations. You will see a lot of the folks that are dealing with homelessness carrying one of our baskets. Now, it's one that doesn't meet our quality, but still, it's helping them. And then beyond that, we help St. Louis businesses. When you have a worker that is injured on the job and you employ more than 100 people, you still have to retain that employee, but where do they go to work? They can't come back to work because they've injured an arm or a leg. Well, they send them to 10 by 3. They volunteer with us. Those people will heal physically, heal mentally from whatever it is that they've gone through while they work with these beautiful products. And we also work with the criminal justice system. When someone is sentenced to community service, they will serve that, not everybody, of course, but about 250 people a year will serve community service at 10 by 3. We've gone on to hire many of those folks. And beyond that, they cannot look at the face of the artisan on this basket and not put their own life into perspective. So when we say, why not here at home? The list is long
She just
about
gave it to
how
you.
we support St. Louis.
You absolutely do. And it's that ripple effect. I used to hear it, though. It was interesting. And I love how we're going to break it down one more time. Because when there's a real world problem, it's going to start somewhere. It has the ripple effect. And then it comes back. When I was in radio, we used to do a radiothon for St. Jude. And people used to always say, well, why St. Jude? Why would you go to Memphis, Tennessee? And it is, well, the protocols and what is learned there. What that and then helps anyone with cancer.
That's
and they
right.
would say, well, we have things here. Yes. But do you understand what takes place there and how these families never have to pay a dime because of that vision and dream? It's the same thing that Teresa's talking about. It's the ripple effect. So these baskets, where can we get those? How can we pay it forward?
Right. So primary location that you can get them is at Whole Foods Market. We are sitting right here on Brentwood, as you know, and they're right across the street. The Whole Foods Market store right across the street on Brentwood, known as the Galleria store, was the very first Whole Foods Market store in the nation to carry our products. Today, we're in over 400 of those stores,
Holy
and
cow.
this year they will purchase over 50,000 products from us. And so Whole Foods is a primary, and if you go to a Whole Foods and they don't have it, ask for it, please, because we
Where's
need
my
to be.
basket?
That's right. And of course, we have a lot of small independent retailers throughout the greater St. Louis area and throughout the nation that carry our products. Yeah, so they're absolutely beautiful products. So Whole Foods, independent retail, home decor stores. We are in Room and Board. It's a high-end home decor company out of New York, and they are known nationwide. We have 35 products that we make just exclusively for them, and I'm excited to announce on your show.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. That we've also just landed a deal with Lowe's.
Oh, wow.
And we will soon be on Lowe's.com, and then soon following that, many Lowe's stores throughout the country.
And so all of this information, this gets back to all these artisans to let them know.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Yes, they know who all of our partners are. They know that it's not 10 by 3. One of our big partners is Whole Foods, and another company that's new here to St. Louis is called Laz Parking, and they are a parking company. If you've ever gone to a large city, Chicago, LA, wherever, you've parked in a Laz Parking garage, and they have one garage here in St. Louis. When I go to the village in Togo where Laz Parking helped us build a school, they call me Laz. They don't call me 10 by 3.
Teresa Laz
Yeah,
Carrington.
exactly. So my point is that we share with our artisans who it is. We're not the heroes. First of all, they are. They are. And then second, if they have thank yous to go to anybody, it's just like how you feel with your sponsors. People who support us, we make sure the artisans know their name. So yeah, they know who Lowe's is.
And I'm sure as soon as you tell them it's growing and growing, we've got more partners coming on. We see exactly what we see on this, which is this huge smile.
Yeah.
Right? How can you
Yeah.
not? I mean, that's what we need more of in life, by the way, is not the hatred, but the kindness, the laughter, the smiling, the belief, the possibilities, the endless possibilities that she's given. Handmade this one by Christine. You mentioned earlier, Teresa, your level of standards. We were mentioning the craftsmanship, and that's the one thing that we see so much. You go into a store and you see buttons barely tied, or barely fastened, and you see strings everywhere, and the level has gone down. That is not the case here.
No, that's not the case. If I can borrow the one that you have, I will share with you a little bit here. So this particular product is made with sisal and banana leaf. Picture, we can grow banana leaves here. You see them around this time of year. They are huge green leaves with a giant stalk, very similar to these palms that you have here, but much, much larger leaf. And this part right here is made with the center stalk. Now, when we talk about quality, it took us 3 years to teach the artisans to take that stalk and turn it with the hard side out and not the soft center side. When they split the stalk, there's kind of a spongy inside and a harder outer side. It took us 3 years to get them to turn that material. Wow. And so we require that everything is straight. Feel how, listen.
Oh, it's ridiculously heavy.
The strength of the basket is very strong. And so we will put them through tests like this. And so teaching our artisans to create international or global quality products means no matter what happens to 10 by 3, we've left them better than we found them. We've helped them understand what it's going to take for them to enter into the global market. This takes training, and they have only a certain amount of time before they are asked then to leave the program. It astonishes people that we don't take all comers forever, always. We learned early on that if we try to be something to everybody, we're nothing to everybody. And so the artisans will be loved on, they will be trained, we will work with them, but after a certain period of time, they may be asked to leave. We call it 3 strikes and you're out. And it's done with love, it's done with dignity. We'll make sure that they have at least 1 or 2 running businesses before they're asked to leave. It's not something that we do often, but when I tell you that we are tough on quality, we are very tough on quality. If we allow lesser quality to constantly infiltrate our pipeline, then it crashes the entire program. And it has been very difficult over the years to find the tinsel to make very difficult decisions like that because lives are on the line. But I've learned over time I can't sacrifice the many for the one. It doesn't mean we don't do it with love and care and grace and dignity and all of the ways we would want to be treated if we were saying, hey, it's like making the basketball team. If you're not good enough, you're not going to make it. But this is a lot more at stake than a basketball team. I hope that's clear. But we'll make sure that if somebody's not up to quality. So when it comes to quality, it doesn't just stop in country. Once it actually gets here, we've got our team that I just mentioned. Now, remember those volunteers we talked about?
Yes.
Those community service team members, the folks who are coming in from St. Louis businesses. We've got one kind of hiding here. They will take this product and they will clip it and dip it and shape it and shine it and make sure that it is so stunning, because we know when we put that extra work in to make this basket so incredibly beautiful, the artisan has done his or her part. Our job, we're the last guardian. It is to make sure only the best shows up on the shelf so that customers will come back again and again and again for their baskets. One thing we haven't spoken about with regard to the card, on the back is a unique ID code to every single product. No product has the same number. It's right here on the back. When you go to our website and you put in that number, you can meet this artisan on a deeper level. You'll learn how many children they have, how many businesses they've started, what are those businesses. You can also see how many of their products we have in the building. You can order one of those specific products from that specific artisan, and you can even write them a letter. And despite language and technology barriers, the artisan will write you back. And to date, we've had thousands of letters exchange hands between the most unlikely people. And so that's another reason that the artisan is motivated to put the best quality forward, because they know their customer could write them a letter.
And have that connection
That's
worlds away. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk more again about 10 by 3. Again, we mentioned where you can get this Whole Foods soon. Lowe's, you heard the breaking news here. And just, again, to continue support. She mentioned there's going to be a gala coming up. We'll talk about all of that as well, and we'll look at more of your comments. More with Theresa Carrington when we return.
It's the icing on the cake.
The final brush stroke.
The finishing touches make all the difference in your home, too.
Have fun and get started at carolhouse.com/room planner.
With thousands of accessories in our 3.5-acre showrooms.
Get your picture-perfect room and the lowest prices in the country at Carol House.
Because you like nice things.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com, 314-567-5585. Welcome back. It is 7:43, and we're talking to this beautiful soul, Theresa Carrington. If you're just tuned in, that's okay. It's the beauty of Facebook and YouTube. All these shows are there. In fact, from back March 1st, I encourage you to just kind of go back through the catalog and be inspired, because that's what we need more of in life. We're talking about 10 by 3, these incredible baskets, and I have a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, I need one of those. I need one of those. Thank you for what you do, Theresa. I remember such incredible work. I'm Christmas shopping. Great show. Good evening. So some people are in other areas. Great idea. I'm honored to be a volunteer at 10 by 3, says Diane.
Aww.
I urge you to become a volunteer as well to help Theresa in making a difference. I feel your passion you have to change these lives. Thank you for what you do. Let's see. Whole Foods, yes. Going to go buy my basket today. There you go. Congratulations. A lot of people are saying, I agree, Christmas gifts. Again, we're talking about October 1st is on, what, Sunday? So we're just a couple of months away, which is just crazy. I love that you can communicate with the artist. I agree. That was one of my favorite things that she said so far. Really makes that one basket special, that you're able to have that connection with them, to thank them and appreciate the work that they have done. So you have a gala coming up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the gala is going to be on October 21st. And so if you are interested in going to that gala, it is a no-cost gala, but we need to know that you're coming. So definitely get a hold of us at support@10by3.org. That's the email, or you can just reach out to us on our website and let us know you'd love to come to our gala this year, and we will make sure that you've got a seat. We have a incredible donor who covered all of the expenses for this year's gala, because he believes that this story needs to be shared, and he wants to make sure that nothing is a barrier between you and supporting the organization. And so it is a ticketless event, but we definitely need to know you're coming. So just reach out to us on our website, and we will be able to help reserve a seat for you. And then the other big event that we've kind of become known for around St. Louis is our annual Pay What You Feel sale. And it will be the second Saturday of November. It's always the second Saturday and now Sunday of November, because it's become so popular. And you come to our location, which, as I said, is right next door to the St. Louis Science Center. And we throw open our doors, and you will be able to buy baskets directly from us. And they might have a slight blemish, or they might be an end of a run, or what have you. And you will just pick up as up to 15. We don't let you just take the whole store. And then you tell us what you think they are worth and make a donation. And so we call it Pay What You Feel. And last year our organization was able to raise $26,000 doing that. And so thank you, St. Louis. Thank you, Metro area, for coming out and supporting the good work that we're doing.
Second Saturday in November.
That's correct.
And then October 21st.
That's right.
Where is the gala held?
The gala is going to be held at our warehouse in St. Louis. Again, right next door to the Science Center. But don't just show up that night, because we love you, but we likely will not let you in. So definitely reach out to us on our website so that we can make sure that we've got a reserved space for you. It is very limited seating. We only have space for 115 people, but it will be an absolute night to remember. One of our leaders from Bangladesh is going to be joining us. Her name is Christy. And when we talk about empowerment and purpose, this is a young woman. She's 25 years old. She has never traveled on her own. And I mean, never traveled on her own to the store, to anywhere, let alone outside her country, because it is culturally unacceptable for a woman of marrying age in Bangladesh to travel. And so I've had to make special arrangements with her family. It was after some discussions that they know me, and so they finally said, well, the only way that we will allow her to come to the United States is because you are receiving her and we know you. So Christy will be here. She's going to have an incredible story to share. One of the things that 10 by 3 is doing is making sure that we are putting young women into positions of leadership against cultural norms, against societal norms, and they have faced incredible barriers and incredible challenges just being young women who want to lead in their countries. And so Christy will be sharing her story of what it's been like to try to lead in a male-dominated society as a young woman.
What does it mean to you? There's so many things that I could think are going through your mind and your spirit, but what does it mean to you, one, to have the vision back in 2002, to bring this to life in 2003, change the name, get the notoriety that you have, but I think more so to get the trust from these families?
Trust is the biggest prize of all.
Yeah.
If the whole organization is built on trust, people who look like me have been coming to the countries that we serve, working with artisans, not maybe the exact ones we're working with, but many similar. And there's a lot of broken promises out there that have been made to them. Building trust in these communities takes years. And I tell them that my yes is always yes and my no is always no. And it is important to keep showing up, keep doing exactly what you said you would do, and keep your promises. And it's only over time that the trust is the ultimate prize. I was traveling back in 2007 to the country of Ghana, and by 2010, I was interviewing a village leader, and I said, this is an awkward question because I'm asking it, but what did you guys think of me when I first came to the village? And without blinking, he said, we thought you were a witch. Oh. And I said, okay, now I have a lot of questions. I said, really? And he said, oh yeah, we thought you were a witch. And I said, well, was I a good witch or a bad witch? And he said, well, at first we weren't sure. And I was like, okay. He said, but now we believe that you are a good witch. And I said, why did you think I was a witch? Yeah. And why did I become a good witch? And he said, well, we thought you were a witch because this is the village of Nyarga. He said, you came from nowhere. No one knew us. No one knew where we were. No one knew where this village was. Now you can find it on a map, the Nyarga Craft Center. And literally that was built in collaboration with Whole Foods. It's literally now on the map. He said, no one knew us, and you came from the air. You came literally from nowhere. And he said, the reason that we decided that you were a good witch is because you kept coming back. So how many times in our lives have we made a commitment to something and we show up for about a minute and then we stop showing up? So trust is built over time and repeatedly showing up. And it is the ultimate prize, and it is the only way that we are successful. Our artisans implicitly trust us.
And that is the greatest reward that anybody could give someone, right?
That's right.
The trust in the human spirit.
That's right. It's so precious.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier, but if you missed it, it's thousands. She used to, we said there's beautiful cards, their story, now a way to connect to their story, to be able to write them. All of the levels of volunteers, the levels of people, the levels of breaking through the barriers, the language barriers, to be able to have the communication. I mean, this is no easy feat that Theresa has done.
It's not. It's been tough. That's true.
But as you had mentioned, you couldn't do it alone. So
absolutely
you want to say any thanks to the people who have helped you?
Oh, my goodness. The huge shout out to the greater St. Louis area, this whole region. I've said for years that St. Louis and the metro area created the perfect storm for me to build this organization. I don't have a college degree. I've never been to college. And so I've never been formally trained in development work. And I knew that I didn't know. And so I met a woman named Shelby at a gathering. I think it was ESBW. Somebody mentioned that earlier on your comments. And Shelby introduced me to Washington University. And the next thing I know, all of the doors at the university are open to me. I am gaining acumen and experience and knowledge. I didn't go to the school, but they made every classes were asking me to talk. Students were starting to band together. We entered the hatchery thanks to Shelby. We went through the hatchery program. We competed in WashU's Olin Cup, which previously had never seen a nonprofit. And we not only competed, but we won.
Wow.
And we changed the game. And suddenly social entrepreneurship was the buzzword on campus. And under Mark Wrighton's leadership, the next thing you know, entire programs started spawning incredible social entrepreneurs for this community. So without Washington University, without incredible students there that have helped us, they helped us define the prosperity wages model. We couldn't have framed it all. They brought the acumen that I didn't have. And then on top of that, There are many people who are listening and watching us this morning who purchased baskets years ago. You know, we've been doing this for 20 years. I have people come up to me saying, I still have my basket. I still use it. They are incredibly strong. If St. Louis and the metro area had not responded and purchased, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
So for every one of you who have a basket, or you've given a basket, or you know somebody with a basket, thank you. Because that's the encouragement that kept us going and kept us going and kept us going. For over a decade, this Whole Foods Market store across the road here gave their profits back to 10 by 3. So for every one of you who purchased a basket there, they were giving the profits back. Once Amazon took over, that went by the wayside, but there's still an incredible program there and still incredible people there. But giving those profits back meant that I didn't have to spend all of my time trying to raise money, which is why that gala is so important, because we don't have a very large donor base, because we had for years and years, we had these profits coming in that helped us make it. So without the leadership of a company that was run under John Mackey, that Whole Foods, we wouldn't be here. The volunteers, hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of volunteer service, like Diane, who we've spoken about. The list is long of volunteers. We couldn't have done it. For every person who has ever said an encouraging word to me or any member of my team, the staff that we have in place is incredible. It takes an entire community to do this. I just happen to be the one sitting here, but if it wasn't for everyone doing their part, it wouldn't go. And I've said that we have the best model in the world to end extreme poverty when everyone does their part. When the artisan makes a beautiful product, when 10 by 3 helps get it here, get it to people like you, and then you buy it. When we all do our part, the world changes.
Well, that's it. See, that's what this show is about, Theresa. We all have to get out of our way, realize that these things are going on. Oh, and then you say, what can I do? That's what I want. And the community that we have formed here are the people that say, well, what can I do? How can I help? And we're pretty much saying, you know, when you see these, purchase them, make a donation, go to the gala. We've been showing you underneath Theresa's name the website, 10by3.org. And then if you want to go to the gala, info at 10by3.org, right?
Yeah.
115 people. That's all they're able to take. You'll have an auction there?
Yes, we'll have an auction, and the auction will be available for anybody to participate in. It will also be visible on our website here in a few weeks.
Good.
A couple of weeks, actually. We're getting pretty close. And we have some incredible items that we've curated from all over the world. For our gala, we ask our artisans to make specialty items that you won't find anywhere else, that are very unique, that we don't even sell. And we're also going to, in our live auction, be auctioning off some trips to go with me to the countries where our artisans are. And it will be a trip that will absolutely change your life. You will see these countries in ways that you could never see them. And we call them immersion trips, because you will be immersed in the local culture. You will cook with families. You will eat with families. You will learn to weave baskets. They will be incredible trips. So I certainly hope folks will bid on that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just heard about 10 by 3 for the first time, I'm so glad. That's the blessing of Diane. Thank you for introducing me to Theresa. 10by3.org is the website you can go to. Make sure that you see these if you go into Whole Foods, soon Lowe's, anywhere, the markets, etc. Pick these up. As Theresa just said, you'll have them for years and years and years to come because of the craftsmanship, the artisan work that has gone into them. And just read the story and connect with the artisan, write them, and have that ongoing, that whole ripple effect, so that we can be kinder and change the world together. I'm going to take one final break. I'm feeling shame. 100 days to freedom from shame, because it's very easy to feel the life that you came from. You think of these artists and the shame they probably felt that they had. They didn't have an education. They weren't seen. There weren't, many you said, weren't even touchable. We were talking at the break, and she was like, oh, that woman, they weren't even supposed to be, even identified. And then all of a sudden she gives them not only an identity, but a purpose in life. So we're going to do 100 days to freedom from shame and give you all the information one final time that you need to know right after this. Invita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Invita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Invita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Invita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online invitahealthandwellness.com. And welcome back, 7:58. We are wrapping up the show, and we're going to give you all the information that you need to know, but we always end with 100 Days to Freedom. And it'd be very easy to just read from one, but I believe that when I picked these up at church that I thought, no, they all lead into each other. Depression, fear and anxiety, shame, anger, overeating, right? They all kind of blend. So we are taking one day from each one and giving you freedom from possibly suffering from these. Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. Oh, this one's pretty powerful. James 4, verse 17. On any given day, as you go about your business, you can encounter the following. A motorcycle rider speeding down the road without a helmet. Someone driving a car way too fast for conditions. An employee or business owner who is rude. A parent screaming at a child. A person puffing on a cigarette. What do these people all have in common? Well, they're all doing something they know full well is either dangerous or counterproductive. You've probably heard it said that life is complicated. Maybe you've even said it yourself. And it's true to some extent. We certainly do encounter tough choices along the way, but life is not as hard as many people think. Most of the choices we have to make in life are really not all that tough. One reason is because we have the Word of God to teach us, along with guidance from people who care about us, whether they be parents, teachers, or mentors. Another reason is because we have thousands of years of history to teach us what is smart and what is foolish, what works and what doesn't. So if shame has come into your life, it's probably not because you found yourself in a situation where you simply didn't know right from wrong and made an unfortunate guess. What likely happened was you knew very well the right thing and simply chose not to do it. Let the pain you're feeling because of that choice teach you the importance of doing what you know is right from this day forward. It's not the things we don't know that destroy us. It's the things we do know, but choose to ignore. You know, in fact, Mark Twain said, do the right thing. It will gratify some people and then astonish the rest. Today's prayer, Lord, thank you for being generous with your truth, for revealing everything I need to know about how to live my life. Help me to study and listen and learn, but always to remember that simply knowing what to do is not enough. I need to do it. Isn't that powerful? We've been talking with Theresa Carrington this whole hour, and if you just tuned in, it's okay. Go back. I want you to listen to this very powerful show, and I can guarantee you that this will, in a matter of weeks, turn into one of our audio podcasts. Every Thursday, we drop a new audio podcast show, and we've had some incredible guests. In fact, Colleen and Lauren Murphy will be our audio show, The Murphys Don't Quit. That'll be coming up for you on Thursday. I'd say in about a month's time, this show will become one of our audio podcasts. So that way we're on Facebook, YouTube, and then all of the audio podcasts so that we can share this all around the world. Theresa, you are a blessing. Thank you for what you do, and I know there's no slowing you down, and there's no slowing them down either.
That's right, and I'm just really grateful to be here, grateful to be standing in the gap for our artisans who are really the incredible entrepreneurs, and just thank you, St. Louis. Thank you for having us on, and of course, thank Diane for introducing us. And, I think the definition of courage is when we act beyond our fear for a cause greater than ourselves. Mm-hmm. So as your listeners are taking in what we've talked about today, if you hear nothing else or remember nothing else, just remember that we have a choice about how we're going to react to whatever life has brought. Mm-hmm. And as we said earlier, I was an adopted kid. When I was born, my mom was in prison. By the time I was 6, every horror that could happen to a child happened to me. I could have been someone who just made a lot of different choices in life. Mm-hmm. But just as what you just read showed us is I knew the right thing to do, mm-hmm. and I needed to go do it. And that's really what this is. It's just simply my attempt to pay forward the love that people have shown me in my life. And you can get involved. Just go buy a basket. and know that you know that you know that you have truly done something important to help us with the larger picture of what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you for using your skills and your gifts to give us a platform, because it feels often like we're screaming into the wind and no one can hear us. So thank you for using your position and what you've created here to give us a voice and to give our artisans a voice.
But we have to thank them, because if they didn't tune in, if we didn't have sponsors, it's that whole ripple effect, right?
It is.
We thank you for believing and wanting to be kinder. The simplicity of it all by buying a basket, to the extreme power of just how high that goes by you just buying one and then two and then multiple. So I know a lot of you, I'll be looking at your comments later. I'll have Theresa do the same, and she can comment to you as well, and then pay it forward by telling others about this particular show. So when we say please like and share and follow, so we can have the branches and the leaves and the tree just goes and grows and grows and grows. That's what we want for this. So 10by3.org. Email info@10by3.org to let them know if you want to be one of the 115 to go to the gala on October 21st. And then don't forget, mark it on the calendar, second Saturday of November. And you can purchase these baskets by what you believe they're worth. And I hope you believe they're worth a lot, because once you feel them, you'll understand what went into that. The love, the power of knowing that you've given an education and a tool to teach. It's amazing, this woman and what she's been through. She very easily could have done the pity me, the shame me, the depression, the fear, the anxiety, the anger, and instead she said, no, I'm going to rise up and I want to pay it forward. And that's what we're talking about. There's a lot of you struggling with a lot of things in life, and I understand that. But see what you can do just because you want to believe. Theresa, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
10by3.org. And to all of you, thank you so much for tuning in today. You really, truly can be anything you want to be in the world. But as I always tell you, before you are anything, please be kind. God bless you all.